Hi everybody, it is Ingi from Tarot Wikipedia. Thank you for watching. I'm going to give you guys your daily message now. If you're on YouTube, you get an individual reading by picking 1, 2 or 3. That card combination, there's 3 cards in each pile. It's read with this here, with the oracle cards. If you're part of the bundle, you get all of the 3 piles read. So the bundle, just click on the description bar, takes you there. If you want to see, basically it's all the courses that I offer for $8.99 a month, and you receive the daily readings as well. I do them 5 out of 7 days. So have a look at this first. I'm going to use a numerology deck today. I'm going to start teaching numerology. So 6 is a perfect number, and it speaks of, well, it says love here. It's also nurturing, caring for your home, your family, your loved ones, yourself as well. Taking care of your life, putting the extra effort into your life, which basically it is doing everything with love. That will heal your life. Let's see what else is showing up, and we read the cards together. So this is from the Fairy Forest deck, the Elf Queen. Introverted, burden, responsibility. So reading with this here, number 6, one of the things that comes with the number 6 is a lot of responsibility. So for example, people that are 6 life paths, or who have a lot of 6s in the numerology, there's a 6 digital blueprint in numerology. So the day you're born, your attitude number, your life path number, your soul number, your personality number, and your destiny number. They are the 6 sort of blueprint numbers in your numerology based on the day you're born and your name. And so for those who have a lot of 6s in their numerology, they often feel a lot of responsibility. So they're saying, release some of that burden. And also felt like saying, even before I looked in the cards, I felt like there was actually a message about responsibility that I wanted to say, and that is, make sure you don't take on too much responsibility or feel responsible for people who should be responsible for themselves more. Like number 6 here, it carries a lot of people, on their shoulders. So people who are 6 life paths or who have a lot of 6s in their chart, they end up carrying people often, supporting people almost too much. And they're saying, just be careful that you don't go overboard. And if people, if people are taking advantage, just make sure you set the boundary, because if not, you see here, it says introverted, burden, responsibility. It can end up wearing you down, where you don't feel that you have the energy for life anymore, and loving life. And that's the opposite of what the number 6 really represents. It isn't about carrying people. It is just loving yourself and loving the people in your life appropriately. Let's have a look in the rune deck, and we get Ingus. This is you kind of see it symbolized here, going from this to this. So it's like love comes with, when people have a lot of love in their heart, people will be attracted to that. It's like moth to a flame. 6 is a very charismatic number. When people are a 6 life path, it's like they have a lot of charisma, but it is because of that loving energy that people they sense that. And so it's all about boundaries in the end. With Ingus, it is, I drew Ingus as the god of horses, Frey, who is represented in this rune as the symbolism basically is that there's a lot of fertility. Everything can grow because it's getting nurtured. So there is something in your life that is ready to ready to take off, because you've been nurturing it. So just make sure that you're channeling your energy into the right people and the right projects, because there is a lot of room in your life now for success and abundance. Lucky, so chaos. So that is this is exploitative energy that comes sometimes with when people give a lot. They also attract in the wrong people, the exploiters. And you see, I drew Loki with a mask because he's a trickster. So it's a real innocent face. But then the mask starts to slip, you know, and then there's someone else behind that mask that is anything but innocent. This is just someone who is evil, even. And if you have someone in your life that is really evil, they're saying, so send out a prayer to the Creator to end that situation in your life where you have to deal with. It could be someone in the workplace, for example. I've had that happen to me. Or relationship, or, you know, there is just a lot of dirty players out there. And the more successful you become, and I feel like there is success in your life, the more you kind of become a target for these people. And when you're aware that they're there, you can spot them from a miles away, and you can stay clear of them as best as you can. This is Skadi flow, you know, there's success in your life, and you just cannot waste your time and effort and money on the wrong people, they're saying. So today is all about, but this daily message is, you know, it's a synchronicity reading. Whenever you see this, it's a perfect time for you to get this message. So an exploitative person will make you feel guilty when there's no reason for you to feel guilty. So see where the energy goes. Like, someone might say that you are high maintenance, for example, but then you are always the one giving to that person. So how can you be the high maintenance one? Or that they might accuse you of having victim mentality for when you stand up for yourself. Like, whatever you do, they're never gonna acknowledge that they have anything wrong with them. And they will always put you down, humiliate you, make you doubt yourself. The self-doubt that comes with these types of people is unbelievable. The further away you can get, the better. 1, 2, or 3. So let's find out more. You can pause this video if you like. Okay, pile 1. Okay. This is a card combination from pile 1. Page of Cups, Queen of Wands, 3 of Cups. So this nearly actually is, there's 2 arrows here. So I teach card combinations and I call them arrows because it's like certain elements together. It's like a perfect line of energy, like an arrow, and it aligns perfectly. And I use numerology, I use the elements, and I use the meaning of the cards and the groups. So for example, here you get Cups, Wands, and you get Court cards, and you get the number 3. This is nearly an arrow of communication and an arrow of relationship, but it falls short a little bit. And when there's something lacking, then you know that is the element where if you implement it, it will be perfect, and it's like a perfect alignment. So Queen of Wands is in the middle. So Queen of Wands, basically, she could be Skadi in the sense that this is an entrepreneur, this is the fire, this is well, you get fire, plenty of fire with Loki here. This is that burning desire to have success, and also having a message that you want to get across. Page of Cups is very sensitive, okay? So it's like you're a very sensitive person, very sensible person as well, and a bit shy maybe even. Maybe a little bit introverted, in the sense that you take your time before you can really trust. But then you have Queen of Wands here, who's so passionate about getting out there with everything that you want to achieve in life. So that those 2 personality types, you could have both of them, and they could be a little bit at odds with each other at times. Part of you just want to be alone and do your thing, and another part of you really needs to get out there and socialize more. So what would make this into more of an arrow of relationship? Well, if you had the 2 showing up here, then that is that focus on relationship. It's like being ready for a relationship. So for those of you who are single, it's like you're nearly ready for a relationship. It's just a little bit of you holding back because I feel like you have so much you want to do first, that you kind of like, I just want to do this first and accomplish this. And if you are in a relationship and you're getting this, then that your relationship could maybe you are focusing on other things in your relationship at the moment, and they're saying just make some more room for your relationship as well. A lot of people want your attention. You can't give all of your attention to everybody all the time. It's very draining. In business, there's like, you will get noticed, but the way you communicate, 3 here is all about communication, and 3 with pages work really well because pages have a lot of enthusiasm and they're very willing to communicate, they're very willing to listen, and they're very willing to learn. And with swords, if we had swords here, it'd be a perfect arrow. Swords then mean that you have the intellectual capacity and the skills to really get your message across. Because swords are lacking, it could be that you haven't really found what it is or how to communicate what it is that you need to get out. So it's like you maybe you haven't found the words, or maybe you haven't found the idea that matches exactly what it is that you need to get across. So for example, if you want to write a book, it's like maybe you just need to formulate better what it is that you want to say, or think about it a little bit more, or do some more research, or it's like the preparation, there might be a bit of lacking in the preparation. So for your message, I feel like you need to do a little bit more preparation before you get your message out there. If you're in business and you are really needing to get things done quickly, they're saying just do a little bit more preparing and planning. Then it will be perfect. In relationship, it's like, I think maybe it's like maybe not being able to communicate properly exactly how it is that you want things, or maybe there's something that you wish you said but you didn't say, or maybe you didn't feel like you were able to express yourself completely. So there was like you didn't feel like you weren't understood properly, or so in relationship you could be feeling there's a lack of understanding. But they're saying again, think about things a little bit. Think about things before you say. Think before you speak. Don't just blurt out, because they're saying if you put a bit of effort into what it is that you want to say and why you want to say it, you will have so much better results. Because I do feel like the message you have is really important. Okay, pile 2. Okay, so here we get 4 of Pentacles, Queen of Swords with 6 of Swords. So this is here we get a 6 here, and 6 with the number 6, the same as what I said with the numerology, is that taking all that responsibility. So here you see someone getting people across troubled water, basically. So it's almost like you have to be strong to get a project or a person or something that you need to get across troubled water. So it could be you helping somebody. You could be in a position of giving advice. Someone who, because you get 4 of Pentacles here, it could be a lot of money involved here. So it could be dealing with business and getting business, business dealings, getting them into safer harbor. It could have been problems in finances. And I feel like you have to protect your money a bit more. I really do feel like you need to get your money. If you are in a situation where, let's say you're in a relationship and maybe you are getting exploited, like we did see here. They say that a lot of people are getting financially exploited. So then they say you need to protect your money more. It could be getting exploited through, if you have a business and maybe someone is stealing from your business as well, then you need to protect your money more. And it could also be, if you can be in a really good job, in a really good relationship, but if you get this card combination, then maybe you have to protect your finances from your own impulses. So they're just saying you need to protect your security and your finances more. But they're saying you're on the right track with your ideas and what you're doing. So what you've been implementing, you are actually soon ready to expand. This is actually an arrow of safety, security, and expansion, especially when it comes to finances. And that is because of the Queen with the 4 is all about trusting. The Queens are about trusting. and knowing that you're on the right track. 4 is about commitment, which is what you need if you're going to have any sort of security. You need to be able to commit. And Pentacles, that's your finances. So it's like it has all the elements where you're now ready to invest and expand. So for some of you, you will make some big investments and expansions in your living situation. Okay, card combination 3. Okay, so this has some, we're getting an interesting card combination here. I'm going to say a few things about this and I'm going to explain why, because I feel like this has to do with some childhood stuff. You get the High Priestess with Ace of Pentacles with the Empress. So sometimes the High Priestess and Empress can represent your parents and childhood programming, because they're such archetypes of female and male. You know, it's like, where did you learn about how to be a woman if you are female? How do you learn about how to be a man if you are a man? You know, you learn from your parents, observing them, and sometimes you could have completely just looked at them and thought, I have to go in the opposite direction because they are just not not good role models. But even then, even when you have that awareness, it could have been like something that that you could be repeating. So, and if your parents were amazing and they did everything right and everything, then that's good. But then maybe what's lacking is that learning from mistakes, because sometimes you learn best by watching someone fail, or you learn from your own mistakes even. When you get the major arcana cards like this, it's almost like, you know, the person is kind of a little bit separated from life and living, because they're afraid to get too involved. So, and that fear could come from childhood. It could come from being very protected, or maybe you weren't very protected at all, but you knew you had to protect yourself, so you chose a very sort of safe path, maybe in some ways. You have a lot to offer and you have a lot of ideas, but it's almost like you're a little bit stuck you're a little bit stuck because it's almost like you're afraid of breaking free from your past. You're afraid of breaking free from becoming more maybe than what your parents ever thought you could be, or even what you thought you could be. Or it's almost like there's like an inheritance here in some way of expectations that you're gonna have to go beyond that. And it has to do again with how you live your life. And I feel like there's something completely new at offer here for you. See that in Ace of Pentacles. And then the Emperor is 4, you know, in numerology, so that's like that ready to expand. But then no queens are showing up, so it's like you don't trust. But then you get the High Priestess, which is kind of like the embodiment of the queen. So doesn't that mean then that you trust? No, because the major arcana cards operates very much on a different level altogether. It's more like a situation you're in. It's like it's expected of you to trust, but the minor arcana cards are kind of what is actually happening. So maybe you feel like there's a lot of expectations on you now to do something, and maybe you just feel like you just don't lack them. Maybe you don't. You feel like you're lacking confidence in yourself. So basically, what they're saying is that, you know what, you just have to learn by doing. That's the only way. Learn by doing, because you're never gonna get ready otherwise. And gaining the experience that you're gonna gain if you go down this path, it's really the only way of learning. So I feel like you're gonna go for it, but I feel like it's like that, taking that step and not sure, oh, am I gonna be okay? So they're saying, I feel like if you do move forward now, it's gonna be huge. And you're gonna be amazed at what you can achieve. So I feel like you're really gonna have to get started. That's what they're saying. So that was my daily message, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Bye!